Timeout.
Hey, this is Brad Norton.
Is packed with the sticks. The drinks are cold. And the scorecards ready to go. Time to hit the links.
And then all of a sudden the putt comes and I was like,
The bag is packed with the sticks. The drinks are cold.
And
the scorecards ready to go. On the tee. Time to hit the links.
and then all of a sudden the putt comes and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I love that.
Point of view of the world.
Yeah.
It's time to go
If
on
Ricky
the
were to
tee.
suddenly and unexpectedly pick one off, that would be one of the more feel-good stories.
Alongside PGA Tour Live, Stephen Watson, here's Gabe Neitzel.
Excited for the show, but sad for the show because we're now halfway done with the major season.
Why you got to go glass half empty on us right out of the gate?
Because the PGA screws up and they're just too early.
We got a Ryder Cup, so we're not quite halfway through.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I'm also nervous about that. We don't have to dive into that today, as we do have a PGA champion. It is Scottie Scheffler, who ran away and hid despite Jon Rahm making his best efforts to make it an interesting tournament on Sunday. But Scottie Scheffler, now a 3-time major winner, getting his first major championship outside of Augusta, Georgia.
We slept on Scottie. We all did it.
Well, in fairness,
we slept on the number one player in the world, Gabe.
In fairness,
we deserved this.
In fairness, he had played well, but not to like Scottie levels. And then the one time he did play to Scottie levels, it was at a golf course in a tournament where, okay, I mean, maybe we should have seen it coming because it's like
he won by 8 strokes the week.
Because he won by 8 strokes at a place that traditionally is hard to lift and separate. Like it's hard to have that much of a difference at that golf course because you kind of just hit it anywhere at TPC Craig Ranch. And then he went and won by 8.
I mean, he's coming off of a hand injury from his little ravioli cooking experiment and still finished top 25 every single event he played in this year.
Yeah, which again is good. But it's not Scottie good.
Yeah, I know.
So we didn't
this
know
weekend
if we
was
should buy
Scottie good.
Yeah, we didn't know if we should buy into Scottie good. Now we know. We just didn't want to get to the market a little too early, you know? But, I mean, honestly.
Hey, it was fun for 36 for Johnny Vegas, but the cream rose to the top this week, as it always does at the PGA Championship. And I'm happy to see Scottie be Scottie again because, man, he was just hiding in the weeds, waiting in the brush for his chance to attack. And that came on Saturday, and that was one of the more impressive stretches of golf at a major championship that I've seen in quite some time.
So first of all, 2 things that really impressed me about Scottie. One, that stretch of golf you mentioned on Saturday, where he built that 3-stroke lead, and you're like, okay, this is kind of over.
Yeah.
Because, well, Scottie's not going to shoot over par on Sunday. He ended up shooting even par, which I still did not think was possible. But even if you go, okay, let's see he shoots 70. All right, is Rahm going to shoot 65 and chase him down? Because that's when you start doing the math that way, it's like, be really hard unless somebody really goes and gets it. So it was really impressive the way he played the Green Mile on Saturday, because we saw what happened to Rahm when he had to play those holes aggressively on Sunday because of what had previously happened, had to play aggressive and bogey, double, and, well, he just kind of had a who cares double on 18 because he knew it was over at that point. So he's just kind of slapping it around to end.
Another major, by the way, that he finished with a double on the final hole to still win by multiple strokes.
Well, no, I was saying Jon Rahm finished with double. Scottie only had a regular bogey.
He had a regular bogey.
Just a regular old bogey.
Yeah.
But what was most impressive to me, I think, about Scottie is how many times have we seen a guy who has that 3-stroke lead, whether it's a PGA Tour event, whether it's a major, and has the lefts going the way Scottie did. He was pulling everything on the front 9. And I mean, he got away with it at times. Like he got lucky with the cart path bounce on 2 that got him past trees. So he was able to hit a regular shot, ended up making birdie. But he played the first 9 and over par.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't seemingly get anything going. And then all of a sudden he steps up to 10, a whole 5 that there's only 3. So you want to take advantage of them out there because there's only 3 at Quail Hollow, a hole that he had parred all 3 times previously. And he birdies it for the first time all week.
Yeah.
Like his ability to self-correct in the middle of the round, usually when a guy has the lefts going like that, like he's holding on for dear life, especially after Rahm chased him down. Because at that point, Rahm's within 1 or tied for the lead. And No, Scottie was able to self-correct and then ends up running away and hiding from the rest of the field.
And the credit actually goes to his caddy, Ted Scott, who just told him, aim right off the tee. I mean, he's like, stop trying so hard to make a big swing change in the middle of your round. Just a tiny little shift to the right, and it would change things. I actually walked the front nine with Scottie on Sunday after I was done my coverage in the morning, and I am amazed at how stoic he is up close and personal, because when you're watching on TV, you just see him kind of right before a shot, right after a shot, but just the way he carries himself from shot to shot on his walk, he's just unfazed by it. Like, he just has that dog mentality of, highs and lows don't exist to Scottie Scheffler. He just is who he is, and he just rides it. And after he bogeyed the opening hole, think about how many golfers that would just end. And for him, he comes back, he makes his birdie, he would bogey again, but he just never really let it get away. I have to share a story with you from Saturday, because just being on the property at Quail Hollow this week, I was in the morning wave with my coverage, so I had every afternoon free to walk. And
I got some pictures. Yeah. I saw some of the pictures that Steven was out there. So I'm aware you were out there walking.
Yeah. And one of the coolest moment, and truly the moment where the whole tournament shifted, was on Saturday about 5:30 at night. And, the finishing stretch at Quail Hollow, 14 through 18, those were the featured holes that I was on. So,
I mean, they're the best holes on property.
As part of my research, in big quotes,
you were working, man. You're up there working.
I wanted to go see how the best in the world would play those holes. And so I was thinking to myself after I got off, all right, Bryson's making his way through the back nine. I want to see the Bryson spectacle up close. So what did I do? I watched Bryson play 14, 15, 16, 17, and tee shot on 18. I was standing next to Bryson when he put the ball in the water on 17. I was standing behind him when he hit his approach. And then I was on the green side of 17. And if you're familiar with the property at Quail Hollow or just learned it for the first time this week, 14 through 17 sit around this body of water that's actually unnamed out there. And it's just a beautiful display, kind of an amphitheater feel out there where you can see multiple holes going on at once.
Probably name it after the guy who was reaching after Rory's ball on Sunday.
Yeah, legend. I mean, the nickname for that place is McElroy Country Club, because he just dominates out there. Maybe not this week, but I was standing with my back to the grandstand on 17, looking across the water. The green's right in front of me. Water, 14th green is in the distance. So Bryson's lining up his bogey putt on 17. At this point, he was in the lead by one stroke. He was at 8 under. As he's about to putt, massive roar. And I'm looking around. Where's that coming from? I look at the 14th green. It was the moment Scottie Scheffler drove the 14th green on Saturday.
Oh, and hit it
from 304 yards. He put it to 2 feet 9 inches. And in that moment, the entire tournament shifted, because Bryson had to step off his ball. He makes his bogey on 17, and ends up playing the green mile at 3 over par. And Scottie goes on to make that putt for eagle, flips the leaderboard, ends up on top, and never loses his lead again for the rest of the championship. And it was kind of amazing to just know that roar was for Scottie and watch Bryson just completely trip over his feet down the stretch. It was pretty special to witness, because I don't get to watch all of the golf going on at once. I'm just going off of the sounds, right? Like, there's not great Wi-Fi, good enough Wi-Fi to send you some pictures, but
that's about it.
And then I obviously watched Scottie finish his round too, and he finished 5 under on the final 5 holes. At no point in his major career has Scottie Scheffler played a 5-hole stretch at 5 under, ever. And he did it on Saturday.
Yeah, and that was the tournament.
Yeah.
That was the tournament, because then Rahm had to go do something, and he just couldn't keep up the pace that he started, because where the tournament ended was when he failed to get up and down on 14, when Rahm failed to get up and down on 14 and 15.
Yeah.
Like, those are the holes you have to make birdies on. So then now you can play a little bit more conservatively, try to make your pars on the green mile, and hope that somebody else trips up. Those were some nervy strokes coming from John Rahm. Like, the putt he hit on 14, just leaving the blade wide open, never had a chance. And to just blow it by the whole 12 feet while he's trying to get up and down. And then for Scottie to hit it almost in the exact same spot and he gets up and down with ease, just kind of tells you, A, how good Scottie Scheffler is. But I will say this about Jon Rahm. It was a lot of fun having him back in the mix.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I enjoy watching him. Like, I really, it's an unorthodox swing. I love his swing. And
So
just
fast.
when he just gets after it and when he was hitting those buttercuts, like, man, I miss watching that dude be competitive. So hopefully that gets him going. Hopefully this was just a speed bump for Rory, and Bryson's been playing well, and Scottie, and hopefully we're getting all four of those guys playing top-notch golf. Hopefully Xander starts to get healthy, and those five guys start to play really good. A legendary venue,
Yeah.
iconic venue. And if you get a leaderboard with just three of those five guys at the top, that's going to be a really fun major as well.
I feel like I need to just make a point here really quickly about this stretch we're on in golf. Last 6 major champions. Scottie.
Yep.
Rory. Xander.
Mm-hmm.
Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
Xander.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie.
It's pretty good. Pretty good run.
We're in a good place right now.
It's a pretty good run of the cream rising to the top in the last 6 majors. That's outlandish.
4 best players in the world, in my opinion. Right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, that's why I'm hoping that Jon Rahm kind of gets it back together. And I do want to get this out of the way. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on Rory throughout the course of this next hour. I am disappointed in him, not for his play, but for not speaking at all.
Yeah, it's perplexing.
Do it all 4 days. Like, I understand you don't have to talk after every round when things aren't going your way, but for somebody who has been so on the forefront and a year ago was telling reporters, hey, we have to be better. Like, he went to some F1 events and was like, man, they're doing a lot of media. We have to do that. We have to be better about this. And maybe he didn't want to answer questions about the driver going away and then his lack of poor driving. And this was a place everyone was expecting.
Or TaylorMade didn't want him to answer those questions.
Because Scottie also had his driver taken away. So that's, and I look at that more of it as an embarrassing thing for TaylorMade.
Yeah, that they may have been like, Rory, we'd rather you not talk today.
But to not do it all 4 days, like that's disappointing. That's really disappointing.
There's no excuse.
Yes.
When you're Rory McIlroy. And when the 2 times that you've hidden from the media happen to be your meltdown at Pinehurst and then you not playing well at Quail Hollow, but you were happily available when you won Augusta.
Well, and again, like
it's just one of those that it's not a great look.
I'm willing to look past the heartbreak of Pinehurst because he did speak earlier in the week, right? Like
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for these guys. They get paid a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
To ride the highs and lows, and if you're Rory McIlroy, you're a face of the game. We expect to hear your voice.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, again, I'm willing to look past it. It's still disappointing at Pinehurst last year to do it all 4 rounds. Again, I'm not expecting him to talk after every round, but to skip all 4 rounds of media, that's disappointing, and he needs to be better. And I love Rory McIlroy. Needs to be better in that situation.
And I'll tell you what, the setup there for when players walked off the course was they had to walk through the media to get to the parking lot. It wasn't a situation where you could just walk right to the parking lot and dodge people. You had to willingly walk right past all the people who are trying to do their jobs. And that includes talking to, the number 2 player in the world who has won at Quail Hollow 4 times and is coming off of a Grand
Masters
Slam.
champ. Has already won 3 times this year. And yeah, you're somebody that you need to step up and you need to talk. You need to be better, especially with all these other conversations going on this year around Colin Morikawa. We don't owe anybody anything. And
Lowry has made some comments too, and I'm sure him and Rory have talked about it a lot about how he needs a cooling off period. Shane didn't talk to the media after his blow up moment this past week at Quail Hollow, and that's fine. But when you have 4 opportunities to do it, we need to hear from you. And I think there's no excuse after the finish of a tournament for a player not to talk.
I mean, who is more disappointed, Rory or the way that Jon Rahm finished? Rahm played the last 3 holes at 5 over. He talked to the media, had good perspective. We'll certainly get to that as we continue here on the show. But we also want to talk a little Rory versus Scottie and the first 2 major winners. We do that next. But I do want to tell you the next best round of golf for you is going to happen at the Wisconsin Country Club. Do what we did, Steven and I. Both members out there, even though the guy is a little busy. I don't know the last time I even saw him out there. I don't know the last time he can say he was out there.
I'm sad to admit I have not played a full round of golf at Wisconsin Country Club this year. Weather has not been good.
Correct.
but I am itching to get back.
Yep.
I think I might be out there Friday morning. So, Lord willing. But I'm back in town. I'm ready to golf, and there's nowhere else I want to golf than Wisconsin Country Club.
Yeah, beautiful course, fun and challenging. No assessments, no food and beverage minimums. And when that weather does warm up, you can check out the pool with themed Sunday fun days each and every week. Get started today at the WisconsinCountryClub.com for membership info. The Wisconsin Country Club, just a fairway away.
Scottie, you've joked before that Meredith would smack you on the head if you ever tried to come home and bring your trophies all around the house. So that's a pretty big one. I mean, where's that one going to go in the house?
Where's it going to go? I don't know. I have a room in our house called the golf room, and that's where all my crap goes. Literally. I mean, it's just a room full of all my golf junk, and I got some trophies in there as well, and so that's probably where this one will go. Yeah.
Is it nicely presented, or is it just kind of like all hanging out?
I'd like to say that it's nicely presented, but it's not.
That's so incredibly relatable, but also makes me a little sad at the same time.
No, I'm not sad. It's actually it makes me really feel like I love Scottie Scheffler a little bit more now.
But do you love Scottie or do you love Meredith?
Meredith is definitely like, this is on you to clean. You need to figure this out. And without ever having truly met Scottie Scheffler, I would have guessed his golf room would have been so buttoned up, like everything meticulously put in order, the trophies on the shelf in a perfect, cabinet, whatever it may be. Like the display has a, underlighting or backlighting.
Because I think of
now I'm thinking like it's like a laundry room.
When I first heard this, here's the washer, here's the dryer. Because when I first saw this, my thought immediately went to Brooks Koepka, because if you think back to the first season of Full Swing, like in like the living room or one of the main rooms in the house, because it's a giant ass house that, of course, Brooks Koepka and his wife have, like one of the main rooms on display are his, and that was before he had won his third PGA championship. So you've got the 2 PGA Wanamaker trophies, and then he had the 2 US Open trophies, like displayed, beautifully displayed, looked fantastic. So you have that. And then I imagine this, like the scene from Caddyshack when Ty's got the girl over, here's a cash check for $10,000. Keep it. Like
he looks on the ground. There's like a crumpled up sport coat. Oh, what's that? I think that's the green jacket. Got to get a couple of those.
Should probably get that dry clean before next year.
There might be a spill on there. I truly don't know.
Bennett may have spit up on it. I'm not sure.
He's
got 2 of those.
I'm a forever fan of Scottie after hearing him talk about his trophy room like that.
Well, like, because I've heard
we need a picture and we need it now.
I've heard like the conversation of like Rory's told the story of like the first time he went over to Tiger's house, and he's like, Tiger, where are your PGA championship or your PGA Tour trophies? Like, I don't know. But he still has like the majors on display within his house. And here's Scottie, just some room, like he's going to walk in with the Wanamaker trophy, open the door, just like toss it in there. Like, worry about it later. And
did you see how bent it was after he dropped the top off? A la Morikawa. Yeah. It doesn't fit on properly anymore. Oh,
so gosh. That's what I
guess it's a good problem to have when you have so many trophies that you just don't know what to do with them.
Well, that's what and Ashton, who's running the show today, he can attest. I labeled that clip, Scottie wins too much.
Yeah,
correct. He did.
That's how that's labeled, because he doesn't know what to do with all his trophies.
So good.
But he's now a 3-time major winner. And Rory McIlroy is a 5-time major winner after winning in the career Grand Slam, which begs the question, because Scottie obviously has been, and I have been one of Scottie's critics in terms of, okay, I understand the advanced numbers are telling me this is the best player since Tiger. That the advanced analytics, especially since 2022, what he's been able to do with his iron play, strokes gained off the tee, all those things, that this guy is such an elite player, he might be the best we've seen since Tiger. That hasn't translated to all the major championships. And my argument before this one was, okay, he's won twice. Xander Schauffele did that in 1 year. And in today's day and age, when the PGA Tour wins are nice, but it's all about the major championships, you got to do it. You got to start doing it outside of Augusta, which he absolutely did in putting away. When he wins these things, like, he just bodies the entire field. Doesn't just body one person. He literally bodies the entire field.
You want to hear a fun stat about that?
Well, because he's only one of two people, I believe, since the turn of the century to win 3 tournaments by that much.
At least 3 strokes.
Yes.
You know who the other is?
It's Tiger.
It's actually Seve. To win his first 3 like
that.
To
win it. No,
Sorry.
yes, not to win his first 3 like that. I'm just saying since the turn of the century.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tiger blew away the field 100 times.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
to win his first 3.
His first 3 by 3 or more strokes.
Yeah, because Tiger had the good. His second was the great
Yeah.
Duel that he had with Sergio Garcia after blowing away the field at the Masters, and then doing what he did in 2000 and winning the U.S. Open and Open championships going away. But who do you think ends up with more major championships? Is it Rory McIlroy, who now has 5, or Scottie Scheffler, who has 3?
My heart wants to say Rory, but my head's saying Scottie. I think Scottie has a more complete game right now. I think what he's done in a shorter amount of time, because he's obviously been playing golf at the professional level for a lot shorter of a time than Rory McIlroy. I think where his game is at right now is more complete than Rory's. Rory has the distance. Scottie is strokes gained approach to green number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the best iron player on tour.
He's also now 9th in putting. And Scottie has never finished a season in the top 50 in strokes gained putting. And he's 9th right now. That's terrifying for the rest of professional golf. And I think what he's able to do between the ears is, in my opinion, like what that dog in him that he has to just finish off tournaments and not allow the moment to get too big. Like, we've watched Rory ride some pretty crazy roller coasters. Rory, frankly, should have about 8 right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't. And there aren't many times where I said, Scottie, let that one slip away. And that's why I think that consistency with the youth.
I mean, it is going to happen because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, of course.
To Scottie.
Course. Yeah.
Like, oh man, I can't believe he let that one slip away.
But I want to read a quote from Ted Scott, his caddy, who knows him better than anybody on the golf course. He said, quote, "He doesn't care about fame. He doesn't care about money. Yes, he gets paid, but what inspires him is so pure. It's almost like he's an amateur playing for the love of the game and the love of the competition. It's like he's Bobby Jones." That was a quote from Ted Scott.
I think that's great. I also think that we might overplay Scottie's, and he had a great quote talking about how he thinks that his strength is like his mental game.
Yeah.
There are times where he gets pretty mentally not strong too. Like last year, he eliminated himself before he put the first tee in the ground last year at Pinehurst. When he started complaining about, I really don't like the native areas because it's just so random. Like you might get a good lie, you might get a bad lie. And that really threw him off. He had like the worst driving week that he did. And we've seen him throw clubs and be upset throughout the course of working his way back because he wasn't playing as well as he was expecting himself to. So I think Scottie can lock in and does lock in when he's in contention and when he still has that chance. But he's also, within the last 365 days, literally talked himself out of a tournament, talked himself out of competing at Pinehurst because he thought it was unfair with the native areas. Guess what the U.S. Open is going to be doing quite a bit over the next handful of years? Going to Pinehurst pretty regularly. So that's something he's going to have to talk himself through. I also wonder, and I know he finished top 10 there last year, but the Open Championship is a puzzle he still needs to solve.
Yeah, of course.
And he's got a little bit of, and it's funny to compare him to this guy because I don't think they could be any more opposite in terms of how they get their final result. Because Scottie doesn't, he's not out there pounding 1,000 balls and looking at his numbers at the TrackMan. But he talked a little bit about it this week when it came to the mud balls, that he's worked so hard to be able to know exactly what his golf ball is doing. And he doesn't really flight a lot of balls. He hits a lot of pretty standard shots. Mm-hmm. And he's really good at it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really figured out how to play in the winds and deal with the elements of the Open Championship. So if he's going to pick one of those off, and it happens from time to time, like it was pretty mild conditions at the old course a couple of years ago when Cam Smith won. That's the type of Open Championship that he's going to have to pick off unless he kind of starts to figure some of those things out. Some guys do, some guys don't.
I feel like you're having a conversation of, is Scottie going to complete the Grand Slam more so than is he going to win more majors than Rory? Because he's better at Augusta. I think PGA Championship, the future venues favor Scottie.
They favor Scottie and Rory because they're going to be so long.
Every course favors Rory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But-
maybe they favor Scottie slightly, but it's not like Rory's that far behind.
Yeah. I think if you would have asked me, toward the end of last year with what Scottie's putting kind of finding its level again, I probably would say Rory. If you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I'd probably say Rory. But I think we're starting to trend into like, oh yeah, Scottie's still got it. And last year was no fluke. And I think we're about to see him rattle off a bunch. And I think the next two majors could be Scottie and Rory. I mean, truly, between the two of them, it could be.
Well, I don't know if Bryson finds that ball that doesn't spin as much.
And Rahm's in the picture again too. I mean, don't rule Rahm out of Portrush.
Don't rule Rahm out of either one of the next.
So it's really hard to win. So obviously Rory has the edge right now with 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Scottie's youth and just the way he carried himself really, really impressed me on Sunday. He just was not rattled by the field. He was not rattled by anybody. He wasn't rattled by himself. It just never felt like the moment, just watching his body language, was too big for him. And his display on 18 green showed me like it means a lot to this guy.
Oh, it does.
Slamming his hat down. Like, we don't see that side of Scottie.
No.
So that, like, you talk about locking in. He was, and to Rory's credit too, like, you saw what it meant to him on the green at Augusta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just let out that scream and he fell to his knees. That was a different major than just winning a major. That was completing a Grand Slam. But I feel like Scottie's.
It's just funny because anytime anybody has these conversations, it's like we get amnesia outside of the major we just won. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Steven. You said that Rory was going to pick off 3 more majors, like, this year.
He could win 3. Oh, I still believe that. I'm not backing out of my prediction.
But what I'm saying is, like, we do this all the time.
But Scottie's 6 years younger than Rory.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just, we do this with every major, right?
Of course.
Like, we just fall in love with the guy that just won because they just seem so unbeatable. Man, look at that display.
Yeah.
Like, you could do that with Rory at Augusta.
Welcome to sports media.
This guy made 4 double bogeys and still won a major. Like, if you eliminate some of that, can you imagine? Now, Scottie just played about as perfectly as you can. And, like, I understand some. Oh man, he won with his C game. I don't think he won with a C game. You don't win that much. Like, it's closer. Like, do I think Scottie played great?
So are you picking Rory based on how you're?
Yeah, I think those 2 majors,
Yeah.
that 2 major head start's pretty significant. I think that's pretty significant, having those 2 majors, because Scottie could easily go through a little bit of a drought here, still play well in the majors like he has. I mean, Scottie won a single major last year.
Yeah.
Didn't win any the year before. Like, it's really, we just mentioned all the guys that are playing really well. And oh, by the way, every once in a while, somebody like Brian Harmon, who's still like a top 20 player, it feels weird saying this, sneaks in and picks one off the way he did at an Open Championship a couple of years ago. Like, there are so many talented players out there, and the top 5 right now are so, again, hopefully Rahm has reinserted himself into that conversation because I think he's a lot of fun. But it is really hard to win a lot of majors, and that two major lead that he has, I think, is significant.
Yeah, of course it is. If Scottie wins another one this year, though, I'm fascinated to see where your head's at. But I hope Rory wins 2 more. I'm not going against my guy. I'm just going sheer. He's 6 years younger. His game right now is proving that he can putt. Like, that was always the one thing for Scottie that just was not there, his putting. 9th in the world in putting is something he has never experienced in his professional career. And that's scary.
Yeah, and the putting also plays a factor overseas as well.
Yeah.
Because they're a little bit slower, and where you're not as good of a putter, playing on those slower greens can be a little bit more difficult in terms of
Also,
finding
shout out
speed.
to Bennett, man. What a cute. That was the good stuff.
Do we think he stood for was that? Because somebody sent us a tweet.
Yeah.
Claiming it because
based on Meredith's reaction, that could have truly been the first time. It could also just be she's riding high. Her husband just won a major, and anything your kid does is cute. And if
Bennett stole the show.
Yeah, I mean, also ultimate flex to. If we really want to get into this, Scottie bringing his son into the scores table,
putting him down on the ground,
putting him on the ground, and giving him something to distract him. I tweeted this right after it happened. I was like, that is the most relatable thing I've ever had to a number one player in any sport. Was like, here, kid, take this. I need like 30 seconds. Just distract yourself with it. Let me go do something.
It's a really important 30 seconds, too.
Yeah.
Because if he signs the scorecard wrong, he get disqualified. Like, it's a pretty important part, but he's just setting Bennett down. Here's my scorecard holder. Would he also throw his hat down?
Yeah, it was so pure. It was.
Bennett stole the show, and it was fantastic. It was tremendous content.
I love, I'm a young dad, so I love that stuff. But that was fun to see from Scottie and get the old hashtag perspective from him.
There is a major championship coming up at the end of the month. The U.S. Women's Open Championship is at Erin Hills Golf Digest, 10th ranked public course in the nation and 49th on their new list that just came out. More on that in just a moment. Charming overnight accommodations that I have a goal of actually staying overnight and then playing the beautiful course that Steven and I love so much. Learn more at erinhills.com. Golf fans, listen up, because this is for you. Spend an afternoon with us July 15th at the Ball Golf Course for the 2025 Delzer ESPN Milwaukee Open. You and 3 guests can hang out with your favorite ESPN Milwaukee hosts, play around at one of Wisconsin's most popular courses, and enjoy food and drinks throughout the day, which the food and drinks, very, very good out there at the Bog. Open up the contest tab in the ESPN Wisconsin app. Register for your chance to win this fan foursome with ESPN Milwaukee, a free round of golf with ESPN Milwaukee. Register for a chance to win right now with the ESPN Wisconsin app. One of my favorite things that always happens in pro golf is when they provide perspective that you can try to apply to your everyday game, because you can't relate to Rory McIlroy getting 186 ball speed and sending it up, cutting the corner at Pebble Beach over that tree on the par 5 up the hill. You can't relate with Scottie Scheffler playing the toughest 5-hole stretch at Quail Hollow in 5 under par. But we've all been disappointed in rounds. We've all been there. You haven't played your best. For Steven and I, we did it on camera last year when we caddied for each other.
Sure did. That was a beauty.
But John Rahm, obviously disappointed with the way things ended for him. Played the last 3 holes, played the Green Mile in 5 over par, completely ejecting from the early part of the tournament. And Rahm's been known for being fiery at a time or two. But here's what John Rahm had to say about the end of his round after his round on Sunday.
And I always like to go back a little bit on something that Charles Barkley likes to remind basketball players all the time. Like I play golf for a living. It's incredible, right? Am I embarrassed a little bit about how I finished today? Yeah, but I just need to get over it, get over myself. It's like, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not like I'm a doctor or a first responder or somebody where if they have a bad day, truly bad things happen, right? So I'll get over it. I'll move on. Again, it's a lot more positive than negative to think about this week.
I just absolutely love that out of Rahm.
Yeah.
Just love that. And because chances are, if you play a bad round of golf, literally the only person who cares about that, it isn't your playing partner. It isn't the other guys in your group that you're playing with. And I'm sure you're embarrassed because you want to play well. But the only person who truly cares is you.
Yeah.
And to see,
and if your playing partners care, then you're playing with the wrong people.
Yeah, right. I mean, the only reason I care is, maybe give you a little bleep at the end of the round, just because that's the way your pals are.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. Hey, remember that shank on 12?
or if we're playing for some shekels too.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
That's also a different story. But again, if you're playing for more than you can afford, that's a different conversation. But typically, it's just a couple of bucks here and there.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you had mentioned missing Rahm on the tour. Like
mm-hmm.
I miss Rahm behind the mic. I think that's like one of the things that we lose as a golf fan. And I'm not going to defend his decision to go to LIV because I thought it was terrible for the game. I hope he's happy with his $500 million or what he allegedly got paid. I think that the sport lost because of his decision. He made that decision for himself. But moments like this weekend were reminders of, man, it'd be really fun to see that guy play golf every week. And it'd be even more fun to have him mic'd up with CBS like he's done in the past, or, sit in a press conference and offer that kind of perspective to us to remind ourselves of what it's like to play at that level, but also be able to compartmentalize in the way that John has and how enlightening and insightful he is.
I mean, he's a smart dude, and he's been pretty fiery in the past, and I know he's talked about that. I don't know if becoming a dad has chilled him out a little bit, but it's just funny to juxtapose that with, did you see what Wyndham Clark did?
Sure did.
I mean, the irony of also wearing a T-Mobile hat while taking out the T-Mobile sign.
A lot of people thought
16.
that was maybe a bit.
But if you did not see it, he just two-hand whipped a club. Was that on 16? Or was that? No, that was
14.
on 14. So he had to play the last handful of holes without a driver because he whipped his club up against a sign, broke the driver.
He had ejected himself well before that. He's having a rough year. It's been a frustrating year for Clark. He's won top 10 this year.
So I get the frustration, but to see that where Max threw a club, but when Max threw his club on Saturday, I think it might have been Sunday, he was like jokingly applauded for his club toss, and it happened before Wyndham because everybody said if you happen to miss what Max did, he threw an iron down the fairway in front of him. So he had to walk that way anyway and pick it up. It's not like he threw it off to the side and had to go chase it down. No, he just had to walk up and pick it up. Whereas, Wyndham just chucked it behind him and then the driver had snapped off. So he was without.
Fortunately, no one was injured. We don't need club throwing.
No. And I get the frustration, but to juxtapose that with what Jon Rahm said, again, I've tossed a club or two in my time. I try to remain chill. It doesn't always happen if you're struggling and you really want to play well, but just remember that quote from Jon Rahm. Next time you are playing poorly, truly, the only one who cares is you.
Yeah.
I just loved it from him. And damn, I just miss him. You're right. I just miss him. I miss him more and more because this is the guy that should be out there each and every week. Like Bryson, I'm cool with just 4 times a year. Some of the stuff that he does, again, like him blaming the ball for spinning too much and not blaming himself for swinging 1,000 miles per hour. Yeah, when you swing that hard, guess what the ball's going to do? Spin more.
I think he's important for the game, man. I'll tell you, I walked those final 4 holes with him on Saturday, and he was calling for the crowds. When he made his birdie on 15, and he's throwing his arms in the air. People were eating that up. He was high-fiving every fan, between every single walk from green to tee box, and he's uniquely himself, and
sure, but I get in a lot of people aren't as deep into it as we are. I can't stand how nothing's ever his fault. It's always the equipment's fault.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
a
now
lot
it
of golfers
seems like,
are inherently selfish individuals.
Sure, but Rahm was taking responsibility there. Like, hey, I didn't play well. I didn't play well enough. Sucks for me. Yeah, I'm upset about it, but at the end of the day, I'm playing golf. Nothing bad actually happened. He's a little bit embarrassed for how poorly he played. And instead of, I just didn't make a good swing and rinse that golf ball on 17 on Saturday that basically ejected Bryson from the proceedings. No, it's the equipment's fault. And this
isn't it equipment he made?
Well, not the golf ball.
Oh, the golf ball.
The golf ball is the issue. And the way he talks about equipment, oh, okay, so the equipment is what makes you good. It's not you who makes you good. And that's the part that I become frustrated with Bryson is it seems more equipment than him taking responsibility for anything that he does.
You don't have to like him. That's kind of what makes him unique.
Mm-hmm.
He's the villain.
Not in his mind.
No. And trust me, not through the minds of a lot of people. I think a lot of people find him refreshing in the game of golf, and that's why they cheer him on so much.
Well, honestly, it's probably good for him that he's over at Live, because I think he would start to wear on people if he was around more.
Yeah, the more he talks, the more he's present. He's a lot. He's a loner, right? Like, you watch him out there, he's by himself. He's not talking to other people. He's on the range by himself. It's just that you can just kind of understand it a little bit more when you go to an event and you see, and you're like, all right, this guy's just kind of living in his bubble. In his practice rounds, he's got 2 cameras around him, filming him at all times just for content that he can create for himself. It's truly Instagram versus reality, right? Like that's the world of Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, I've got more on Bryson, but we can have that conversation a different time, because earlier today, Golf Digest released America's 100 greatest golf courses. I was going to quiz Steven on it, but he's big time. Had the list sent to him, apparently.
Oh, don't give me the bit. I'm a golf sicko. I'm not going to miss something like this.
You had a lot of things. You had a lot of things going on today.
When we have an opportunity to showcase the great golf in Wisconsin, I'm not going to miss it.
We'll let you know how many golf courses made that list coming up next. But with 18 unforgettable holes and 250 acres of private natural land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog. On the Tee, presented by Majestic Oaks, and you can discover a hidden lakeside course in beautiful Delavan at Majestic Oaks. Tee off on a course with over 2 miles of lakefront with wide fairways and challenging greens await. This lakeside 18-hole course offers a golfing experience like no other. This is my favorite part. Join them for the best family golf nights in the state, where everyone can enjoy the game together and enjoy golf, cart, drinks, and snacks for under $15 a person. Think about that. Under $15 a person, and you can have the best family golf night. With several membership options, you can find the perfect fit for your lifestyle. If you're ready to play, book your tee time today. LakeVaughanResort.com with Majestic Oaks Golf Course. America's 100 greatest golf courses, Stephen. Wisconsin, well, not represented the way we were for the public golf that's out there, but still, I think Wisconsin did very, very well with 4 courses on America's 100 greatest golf course lists. Number 97, Milwaukee Country Club. Number 69 was the Lido, which I still have yet to play. Number 49, the course near and dear to our hearts, Erin Hills.
Yeah.
And number 26, Whistling Straits. So those America's 100 greatest golf courses where they took the last 10 years of rankings that they did. They also, threw some different types of rankings in there, a little more comprehensive. They tried to be more objective. It's always obviously impossible to be completely objective here when it's subjective in terms of ranking golf courses. But 4 in the top 100, I think, is pretty good for our great state.
I love the Lido. I had an opportunity to play it last year. I'm surprised at how many lists this is flying up the rankings on, because it's only truly in its second year. I think just the mystique and the history of the layout of them recreating a course to spec is kind of what the diehard golfers love about it. I'll tell you what, I think there should be more.
All right. So for our Gruber Lofts' one call, that's all this week. What is the one course that they missed out on in the state of Wisconsin that should have been on this list?
This might be a little polarizing to some because I feel like this golf course is a love or hate. I love it because I love Pete Dye, but I think Black Wolf Run River should be on that list. I think it is a masterpiece. It's the way that it flows around the Sheboygan River and tests you, and it's just such a beautiful layout, good routing. I would put River on there. And I personally, and I've said it on this program, I don't think Milwaukee is the best private golf course.
See, that's what I thought. That's where I thought you were going to go.
And my favorite is also in that Sheboygan area, and it's Pine Hills. I think that golf course is slept on, and they probably love that it's not on these lists, because I think that's what kind of, members love up there is it's pretty quiet. It just kind of hides down there. And
I cannot wait. I know I'm going to play that golf course this year. I've got a buddy who's a member up there now, and he keeps bugging me to go up, and I just haven't been able to make the dates he's asked me work, but I am going to go up there. I can't wait because of how highly you talk about that.
Yeah.
Golf
And
course.
2 golf courses I have not played in the state of Wisconsin that find themselves on a lot of lists are Stevens Point and Minocqua. And I've heard Minocqua in particular is one of the more enjoyable experiences around the state. But I mean, I think the top 3 deserve to be on the top 3 on this list, that being Straits, Erin Hills, and Lido. Lido really is kind of a walk you'll never forget. And then Erin Hills, I mean, what more can we say about that golf course on this program? And then Whistling Straits, it's hosted Ryder Cups, it's hosted PGA Championships. It truly is, you're dropped on a
and there was a story that they're interested, not shockingly, but Whistling Straits efforting to get the next Open United States Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So they're going to be efforting for that again. That's not until 2042, maybe. But it's a ways in the future.
Yeah, it was a very successed Ryder Cup. They proved that they could do it. PGA of America obviously loves that.
Oh, they love Kohler.
So, I hope that they get it. We deserve to have more championships in the state. Also, shout out to Blue Mound. That's another just great track. I don't know if it's a top 100,
Mhm.
but just one that deserves a lot of credit in this area.
I need to get back up to Sand Valley and just get a refresher on the original championship, because it's been a number of years that since I've played that. And again, I've heard that Mammoth is as fun as you can have playing golf. Again, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a top 100.
Yeah.
I've just never played it, but like the playability and funness of it, I think would have to factor in.
You look at a place like Bandon Dunes, which is also a Kaiser property. There's, I think, one, and that was Old McDonald. I think.
Old McDonald. They had, I think Bandon Trails might have been on there too.
Well,
I think they had two.
Good, because Bandon Trails is the best layout out there.
Okay.
But Kaisers are built for amateur golf. These are top 100 routing. You know, they're going to give more to the courses that are a little more difficult. But yeah, truly, we're so spoiled here. You could have 10 to 15 on that list. But I would say my Gruber Lofts is one call that's all pick is I think River should be on there.
Mine actually might be Century World. I love Century World, man,
Yeah.
especially with all the money that they've poured in there to make it as good as it's become. Century World, I think, is still pretty underrated when you start talking about best golf courses in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
May have to take advantage of their hospitality here soon and get back up there and play it again.
The stay and play package is
it's pretty attractive up there, is what you're trying to tell me. All right, we enjoyed this week's show. Next week, we're going to be out at Erin Hills. Next week, I can't believe it's here, U.S. Women's Open Week, so we will be out there for that. Stay tuned for special programming we're going to have all next week as well from the U.S. Women's Open. This has been On the Tee.